group, etc. So group polarization, group thing. Two examples of what happens when other people are around and you're working together in a group. There's more than one. Just two ways. These are just a few first ones. See why here in an example. So the first is play video games. Or
Stop unmuting this guy. Oh damn, we're having CNY informational again today?
What are you doing, Sophie? It's like my only window for today because I have to go say that. I didn't know computer science and just worked out. I didn't know computer science. Yeah. Wow. I'm like one.
We'll give a little bit more time, just because I don't know if more people are coming in person or not.
I think we should just start.
Probably not.
We might as well just start.
Got you.
Yeah.
So-
Should be coming. Oh, were they? For two buddies? Yeah. My other two comps have just like things. Did they go to the gym too? Or
It
they-
is midterm week, so
Were they too busy with the league?
not midterm week, but midterm season. So
Where did you get that Burger King crown? It was right here, and so actually, you know what? For you, Mr. Dylan, not donning the crown. You must don the crown, actually.
he's gonna get hepatitis from that.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what.
It's okay.
diseases are
No,
on
you're
that
gonna
guy.
be doing a lot worse things.
I do have a plane ticket for you. Plane tickets.
Do you not get it?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we can just start then. Do you want to go ahead and start then?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be over here. Where's the crap? Where's the clicker?
Do you really need
No,
it
it's fine. It's
for
fine. I'll
today?
just sit here. Yeah. All right. Well, let's just go
I would
ahead.
give it to you, but
Yeah, it's all
not
good. It's all
worth
good.
it.
Everyone on Discord can hear me fine. Thumbs up.
Damn. Attendance really just.
Think we're set. Yep. Okay, well, let's begin. Today's workshop is going to be on enumeration and vulnerability scanning, but let's start out with some quick introductions. If this is your first Red Team workshop, my name is Nishanth. I'm a senior.
You're presenting
Oops.
wrong.
Yep. My name is Nishanth. I'm a senior studying cyber, and I intern with New York State ITS within the Cyber Command Center. And let's move on to our friend Dylan.
Yeah, my name is Dylan, and right now I just have the EJPT certification. I'm going to be interning at New Harvard this summer. So,
Congrats to Dylan for that, by the way.
thank you.
Before we begin our workshop, let's just do a quick ethics disclaimer. We've already went over this before, but anything you learn within this workshop shouldn't be used in a non-legal or illegal way, and everything that you do should always be done with permission. The sites and virtual machines and remote hosts that you're interacting with whenever we do a test or workshop are always simulations, and they aren't like real hosts. So if you do this stuff in real life, you'll get caught, you'll get prosecuted, bad things will happen. So yeah, take with that what you will. Here's the attendance sheet real quick if you guys want to.
That definitely isn't gonna work.
Oh, the attendance thing? Uh-oh.
It's not the same for every time.
Crap. Do you have... It's fine.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Just skip it.
Yeah,
just take a
we'll skip this
screenshot
real
of the
quick.
Discord.
Okay. So let's move on to our introductory topic of enumeration. Enumeration is essentially gathering information about the target network that you're doing a penetration test on, or if you're just doing like a box on Try Hack Me or Hack the Box. During network enumeration specifically, you'll want to find IP addresses that are relevant to the host that you're looking at, any sort of subnets or network ranges that are kind of in scope for the penetration test, and you want to document as much as possible in terms of any services or ports that are open. You can also look at like directories if you're looking at web applications and web servers and such. And we especially like the open ports and vulnerable network services that have publicly known vulnerabilities and such, because any sort of stuff that we develop on our own is kind of out of scope for it. So here are some examples of information gathering and stuff we can do. This is a text bomb right here, but I'll have some screenshots in the next slide for you guys. We can use some commands in the Linux terminal, like host with example.com, and that helps us find relevant IP addresses behind a domain. We can also look at specific directories in our browser, like if we go to a website and then put /robots.txt or /sitemap.xml, we can get a bunch of information that we can use in terms of how websites have directories organized. Like, for instance, robots.txt kind of gives us a look into what a website is telling web crawlers or search engines like Google or Bing or Yahoo, how to interact with the website within their search engine. Like, when you do a search on Google and you look at a specific website, you'll get subdirectories under it. We can basically see a master list of all those directories using these specific things. And yeah, but we can also use other command line tools like whatweb. And what that essentially does is give us a list of web technologies that a website that we're targeting is using. Could be any sort of extensions or like frameworks or anything that the website is using that could be useful to us. And if we find anything vulnerable, that could help us in trying to pivot. But yeah, we can also sift through source code of the website using something like HTTRAC or HTTrack, I guess. You can also inspect websites, as you know. I'm sure in like high school, you guys right-clicked on your grades page and pressed inspect element to temporarily change your grades and show your parents, hey, look, I got such a good grade on this test. But yeah, it's kind of similar to that, where you can look at like source code and see what might be laying around in there. But yeah, we also have passive subdomain enumeration with a tool called sublister. You can use sublister to kind of do like searches on a variety of search engines, and it'll give you a lot of indexed options for websites that you want to look at once you give it like certain flags. But this isn't always reliable because a lot of search engines have rate limiting built into them. Do you guys know what rate limiting is? So rate limiting essentially blocks bots or large contextual like probes into a search engine, right? Like it'd be kind of sus if you searched for something like 1,000 times and wanted to get results from it. So websites will usually like block that, or not websites, but search engines will usually like block that traffic and not allow you to make huge amounts of consecutive searches in a row from one IP. And that's why sublister doesn't always work. But yeah, here are some examples of scans that we can see. For instance, here is the host command here. Like I did host albany.edu in the Kali terminal, and it gives me the IP of not necessarily Albany's web server, but this is probably like a Cloudflare web IP, because in the next slide I'll show you how to do like web application firewall detection and such, but this is probably that IP for that. And we can also see like mail server addresses and other cool stuff. Like this is Albany's like Outlook protection that they use, and this is pretty default. You can't really do too much with this information, but it's just cool to see what the host command can do for you. You also have sitemap.xml in the bottom over here that you can see. I don't know if it's too like legible, but what this screenshot is showing you is that if you go onto like a website like www.albany.edu/sitemap.xml, it will take you to one of these pages where it'll list out a bunch of directories and subdirectories within that website. If you guys did the box last time at our first workshop, you'll know that it's important to get like a feel for what kind of subdirectories are going on in a website, because you might have like a secret one that's not accessible through a traditional like Google search, and you'll have to sift through and use something like Dirbuster or GoBuster to see if something like an admin panel or like a configuration panel pops up, because then you can use something like that in order to get admin access to those things and potentially get new hosts that you can get onto. But what you're looking at on the left-hand side here is also something similar. You get access to a lot of directories. But yeah, these are all different ways that you can use some cool command line tools to do this. And also here you can see a bunch of frameworks and tools that UAlbany is using on their website. Like you can see Drupal, Frame. You don't see like specific version numbers or anything, but you can use different tools to get those things. So this is just like a very short scope of what a potential target could be using. And next, we can move on to who is enumeration and DNS reconnaissance and some web application firewall detection stuff. Essentially what you're doing when you're doing a whois lookup is querying registered users and other domain information for useful things that we could potentially use during our pen test, right? So it is a command line utility. Again, as we saw before, you use it within the command line and something in Kali or Ubuntu or whatever distro you like using. And it gives you a bunch of information. So say we want to do a whois lookup on albany.edu. We can get some registrant information, where it's located, any sort of administrative contacts that are at UAlbany or whatever organization we're looking at here. Again, don't use this for any malicious purposes. You can see some of the name servers that UAlbany has. Like we have DNS Made Easy, and then a name server at Buffalo, and then one at Purdue, it looks like, and then some contact information for domain admins and such. So yeah. What you want to use, or what you want in terms of like important information when you're looking at DNS records, is stuff like A records or like mail server IPs or text records. Essentially, A records resolve a host name to an IP address. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that?
No.
So a host name is similar to like a domain, I guess you could say, right? Like google.com. Every website on the internet has a domain name that correlates to an IP address. And domain names make it easier for humans to understand what like websites they're visiting instead of like a jumble of numbers, because obviously that's not too great to like memorize and such. Like you don't want to go to like, blah dot blah like 10.90 that whatever IP, right, to go to Google. So that's why it's important to have host names instead of like IP addresses, I guess, in like a very simple sense. You can also look at like text records, which hosts like some important logs that you might be able to find useful information in. Again, this is like a super simple explanation of this, so I'd encourage looking at this kind of stuff on your own time, because it's just a lot of info dump that I would probably bore you with. So yeah. Another thing that I mentioned beforehand was web application firewall detection. A lot of websites on the internet won't directly give you their web server whenever you do like a ping scan of them, and a lot of them are protected behind like firewalls. Like for instance, if we use this tool called like WAFWoof and then use albany.edu, it does a bunch of tests to see what kind of web application firewall that somewhere like Albany is using, and we can see that Albany is using a Cloudflare service to kind of protect them from like mass scans and like maybe DDoS attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt whenever you do a scan, like I mentioned before, for IPs, because this might very well be a Cloudflare IP instead of UAlbany's actual IP. So next we can talk about Nmap. I'm sure, have any of you used Nmap before, whether that be here or in like activities? Sweet, nice. Like to see that. Nmap is typically used to gather information on network stuff, whether that be information on hosts, open ports, or services that exist within the network. You can use ping sweeps and other sorts of scans. You have a litany of options that Nmap has, and it's a very powerful tool once you get familiar with it. Again, I'm not going to give you like a whole man page description of Nmap. That's what stuff like that exists for. So I'd encourage using that on your own time, and the lab that we're going to do will give you some good insight on how to use it. And yeah, but like I said, it's really good for looking at open ports and services that could be useful for a penetration test. Let's look at some useful flags that might be important to use in the lab that we're going to do today, and some general flags that you'll find interesting. One would be Nmap TAC PN. You can use PN for ping scans on hosts that don't respond to initial ping requests, because a lot of hosts, when you scan them, will straight up like drop continuous ping scan traffic. So what this command does is it essentially assumes that the host is up and running before it does the actual scan, so it doesn't do an initial ping request, and that kind of circumvents the dropping of the traffic by the remote server, right? You'll see what I mean when you actually do the scans on the lab. But yeah, there's also Nmap TAC P and attack afterwards. What that essentially signifies is that Nmap will scan for all ports, and you can also use TAC P and then a range of 50 to 100 to scan ports that are between and including 50 to 100. So that's useful if you want to scan specific port ranges. You can also do Nmap TAC F for doing fast scans on the top 100 ports. A lot of the top ports are really common and is what we use in a lot of pen tests, at least in on beginner boxes on Try Hack Me or Hack the Box, or the OffSec ones that we do. We don't usually have really insane port numbers on them. It's just pretty basic stuff that you'll encounter in the easy boxes. But you can also use stuff like Nmap SU for UDP ports, because a lot of services run UDP instead of TCP, and you can also use the TAC V flag to increase verbosity. And what that essentially means is that you get more enhanced output while you do the scan, so you can know what's going on during the scan instead of looking at a semi-blank terminal. You can also use Nmap TAC SV to do service version detection and enumeration, so you can get information on what version is running for a specific application or service, like Apache 2.4 web server, for instance, which can help you track down vulnerabilities that affect that specific version of Apache, for instance, right? So it's important to have that information on hand. And you can also use Nmap TAC O to detect operating systems, but it isn't always accurate or conclusive. There are other tools that do that a bit better, but on some boxes it will work perfectly fine. And then we have Nmap TAC A, which is an aggressive scan that is a conglomeration of a lot of Nmap tags put together, and it uses a lot of Nmap scripts too. And you don't always want to use Nmap scripts, because that'll just essentially be an automated attack, and you don't always want to do that when you're doing a pen test, because that might kind of signify to whatever box you're attacking to either drop traffic, or it'll look bad if a human is on the other side, right? And it's a blue teamer. But yeah. And there's another important option here. You can use Nmap TAC ON and then a flag, example.txt or dot CSV or whatever you want for saving Nmap scan results to whatever format that you like, because if you're using a module like Metasploit CSV files, if you ever want to use results like that. So yeah. Some things to keep in mind before we go into active testing. It's important to always have a scope, and that can come into terms with working with a client and seeing what network ranges they want you to test on, what applications they want you to interact with, and all that type of stuff. Because the last thing you want to do is take down a business critical system accidentally, or a system that the client doesn't want you to test on because they're not looking for stuff that's affecting that. So you always have to keep in mind the who, what, where, then, where, when, why, how, essentially. And yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about service enumeration, and that is exactly just finding out what specific technologies are being used within a target network. So, yeah. We do want, I don't have the clicker over here, so.
Sure.
You can go. Alright, so service enumeration. What are services exactly? Services are background processes that run on a computer that provide functionality to applications across the network. So these different processes will run in the background, but be open to other computers within the network to interact with. If like files need to be shared, remote access needs to be enabled. What else is there? There's like a whole bunch of things. Databases, if a computer needs to grab a bunch of information from a database, a computer will have that database and have the port open so that way other computers can grab that information. So it's just kind of like the inner workings of a network and to make things easier. However, why do we as elite hackers care? That's because it provides an attack vector into their systems and into sensitive data that might aid us in breaking into their computers. And then some examples. So there are like a limitless amount of services that can run, just because you can make your own services. There's already standard services out there like SSH, SQL, a whole bunch. I'll list that stuff off later, but anyways, the important thing is that there can be as many or as few services open on a computer, and you want to use whatever services are open to your advantage when you're trying to break in. So, and like I said, so these are the some of the most common services that you would typically find during like a easy box. So that would be HTTP, HTTPS, HTTP, and their default ports too. So service name, default ports. Take note that default port is the default for those ports. They can be configured to run on whatever port they want. So just remember that next time you do like an Nmap scan or anything like that. Same service like HTTP, a website can be hosted on like a different port if they really want to do. But anyways, so SSH, like I said, that service is used for gaining remote access to a computer within a network. So you would do, yeah, anyways, I'll just do like a general description. SMB, that's for file sharing, and same thing with FTP as well, that's also file sharing within network. SQL is basically database sharing. RDP, that stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, so that's if you want to connect to a Windows machine remotely, you would use the Windows service RDP to gain access to that. And then SMTP, that is, I believe, an email protocol for sending emails back and forth across the network. So, yeah. Okay, so enumerating these services. Once you know, or now that I just went over a brief description of like the most popular services that you would find on a computer, how do we go about enumerating and figuring out what service versions that they have so we can find exploits to take advantage of them? And that's what we are going to do here on this slide. So after running TAC-SV, which stands for service version, the services running on a computer as well as their version number, so like Apache 2.0, like Nisant said earlier, that is a service version. The 2.0 is the service version, and so we can look that up on ExploitDB and see if there's any exploits that we can use to gain remote access that way. But otherwise, enumerating these services, there's a couple different options that we have here. Nmap has a couple built-in scripts that you can run on a target that will enumerate some of these basic services for you. So like I said, Nmap TAC-P 8443, so that means that it's going to be scanning only port 80 and 443. So if you realize that the HTTP is running, or HTTPS is running on a computer on port 80 and 443, you could specify to only scan those two ports. And once you do that, you use the TAC-S or TAC script option, and you can select which kind of script you want to run. So that could be HTTP enumeration, DNS enumeration, SMTP enumeration users. So for this first bullet point, this Nmap script that is being run, that's going to be enumerating the different directories that are on that host. So you know how last time in the last workshop we kind of used like dirbuster to find all the different hidden subdirectories, all that /home /login page, all that other stuff. The Nmap script does just that as well. Nmap, the DNS enumeration, that enumerates different DNS services, or not services, DNS names, Nmap, TAC script, SMTP users. That enumerates different users that could possibly be running on the SMTP service. So typically whenever you need to access a file or sensitive data on another computer, you need to provide some username and password. So if we want to try to enumerate and figure out what users already have access to that service, we would try to use this script right here, this one line. So, but yeah, and like I said, so an important thing to note is that although Nmap has scripts built into the tool for your convenience, there are other tools out there that do a much better job at enumerating services specific for those services. Like Enum for Linux, Durbuster, like I said, for the first one, SQL map for different SQL databases, and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. And then the service exploits. So once you enumerate all the users and maybe their passwords and their service versions, stuff like that, you want to see if any of them are or have any vulnerabilities right off the bat. So if you notice that, you know, a website is running an old version of Apache, you would then test it to see if there's any vulnerabilities out there that you can use. So these are some of the commands that you can run with Nmap to test those different scripts. So this first one, Nmap script equals vuln, that's like a pretty broad and generic vulnerability scan on the target. It just kind of does like, it packages a bunch of different exploits, or not exploits, vulnerability scanners and just runs against that. So it's like your most generic vulnerability scan you can do. And then of course you can get more specific depending on the service version. Like over here, it says SMB vulnerability, or vuln, and that is testing to see if there's any vulnerabilities on port 445 that is running the service SMB. And then this last one right here, this does SMB vuln MS, so that is testing for a certain vulnerability called Eternal Blue, which is actually an SMB service as well. But yeah, we can go over that later if you have any questions. And then so these are some of the results as well. So yeah, this is, in this image right here, this is the result of a Nmap's SMB Eternal Blue. So it says, it will tell you vulnerable remote code execution vulnerabilities. So it found a vulnerability that you can use to your advantage, and it will list off the exploit that you can use. So you can look that up in exploit.db and change the IP address and begin remote code execution on that target. And then over here, HTTP enum, like I said, these are some of the directories it found, like Durbuster does as well, same exact functionality, just using the tool Nmap. And then over there, oh yeah, there's some of the user enumerations. So those are a couple of the different users that exist on there. So like games, nobody, bind, proxy. So those are some of the confirmed users that are that have access to that service. Yep. Any questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, why can't like let's say you're trying to scan into this company, how come they can't like trick you with the version?
They could.
They could?
They could. There's these things called honeypots, which are kind of traps for hackers. So there are devices called honeypots that will sit on a network and look like they're vulnerable and ready to be exploited. Like they're running like old ancient software, all of their ports are open, which is, really enticing for a hacker that wants to break in. So once you attack that honeypot, it actually sends off a signal to alert that it's been hacked. And all the stuff that you do inside of that honeypot is tracked and monitored and reported back to whoever's monitoring that device. So there is stuff like that exists out there. So you gotta be careful.
You could talk to one of our club members about that who decided to use that in a competition.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, is it okay to put a honeypot in a SIEM?
In a sim.
Only if it's for a different Kali instance, or not Kali, Linux instance.
Got you. Thank you.
So make sure when you're using a non-Debian based one that you don't follow the directions for a Debian based sim.
Also, make sure you're not using like a 10-minute guide on the internet.
He's in the call right
I know.
Alright, so now it's time
Shout
for
out, Booth.
labbing. If you guys made an account last time,
sign into that. Otherwise, you can head to that website. Notice the /signup/PG for Playground. You don't want to pay, because otherwise you'll go to a website that asks you to pay money for a subscription. You don't want to do that.
Once you have like the extra $2,000.
Yeah, really, it's something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, again, we info dumped you guys yet again. So,
It's a recurring pattern.
best way to practice this stuff is by doing it, and you'll get the hang of it eventually. You'll learn like what the different commands do just by doing it.
In the gym. You know something about the gym?
Yeah, my girlfriend's so right.
Question. You know, now that I think about it, why don't we try that honey pot that we tried?
No. Dude, we'd be against professional red teamers. I think they'd find that quick.
No, not in competition. Like right now, like.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah, no,
crazy.
we're not using a 10-minute non.
And also, if it's a blue team competition, you're not hacking back.
No.
That literally goes against the competition rules.
Maybe CNY they can try out some honey pots.
Oops.
Is that a video?
No.
What's the
So I'll do the box on the side here. Oh god, I forgot about this. It's gonna be horrible. Oh my god, I'm still connected to the freaking VPN.
Oh yeah, did you pause it?
No.
Oh wait, did you shut down your bot?
Yeah. Oh my god, I can type. Sudo open VPN. What's up?
What?
So there, once you guys get to like this screen, just go to Labs, Play, and then search up Photographer over here. And after that, someone's mic is on, by the way.
Okay, you're good now.
Just DC them.
No, somebody DC'd them.
But once you go there, there should be like a little play button here where it'll launch a VM in your browser that you can use for the lab. There is a walkthrough as well. That's the QR code to it, but I'll also drop a link to it in the chat. Not that. Where'd my VMware Fusion go? Oh shit.
How many people did you actually go to?
Yeah, that's what I did.
I don't want to show up.
Did Neil ever respond to your
Yeah.
emergency meeting request? What did he say?
Morning
He
meeting?
said, let me quote. How does one have an emergency TA meeting? You guys go to war or something? I said, no, we'll get someone to break ethics.
I thought you meant that you were having a meeting with a student.
No. Well, we were supposed to have like a meeting for the TA program. We are. The mirror was like, yeah, we're gonna set up a Zoom every week to discuss. just like mobile forensics happened.
So just a reminder, guys, if you want a version of the walkthrough on your computer, once you start the box here, you can click the 3 little arrows in the OPSEC portal right next to the box name and then press walkthrough. And you can have it running alongside the box and it'll answer most of your questions. It's meant to be a little open-ended just because OPSEC likes doing that, just so they don't like spoon-feed you information, I guess. But it's not too bad to figure out on your own. But if you have any questions, just let us know.
I remember. Nishal, I remember this one.
Yeah.
Is this one with the reverse shell?
Yeah, yeah. It's all good.
No, it's not bad. This is super easy. You should be able to do this. I'll time you.
What do you have to do for it?
Just a reverse shell.
Yeah.
That's it? For what? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll see if like I'm just gonna use the ADK room. Someone messaged
Bruh.
Leah.
What the hell?
I'm gonna message Leah and
No.
be like,
Stop.
yeah, I got a room.
You know that
I got a
Victoria Tory, the administrative assistant.
Yeah, but Leah was like, it's too late for me. No, it's not. Whatever. It's okay. Why are you running it on a Cali machine in Cali?
That's a good question. I don't know why it's doing that. I might have to
Because
restart my
the VPN
box.
isn't on.
The VPN is on.
No, it's not.
No, it's on.
No, he closed it.
No, it's
Bro.
Here, Nishant, you know how you can tell it's on? At the
Because
top,
it has the
it
freaking
has the
thing.
IP like on the
I thought I turned it on. Oh well.
No, bro.
It was on.
It was on and then it seemed to make sense.
Screen reader on.
Pretty sugar.
What do you have?
Huh?
It's gone.
Of course I got gum.
No, I'm good. I don't like Twizzlers.
They're the best candy.
The only Twizzlers I like.
Twizzlers are the best candy?
Oh,
Strawberry toast peel.
That's crazy.
Those are the.
Reese's are the best candy, dude.
Oh,
Ew.
Oh,
No.
we're going shopping.
when?
Whenever this is over. We'll go in between then. It's the thing for EDPs that
You should run an EV. I'll make an exception.
No, don't.
I'll make
Dylan,
you.
if you don't even have time to sleep, you're not gonna have time to go
Dude,
to any
what
of
is up
these
with you
events.
sleeping around? What's up
Dude,
with
Dylan, I've slept so well after dropping out of class.
Yeah. I'm actually going to his office hours and.
Tell him I say good riddance.
That was me to my stat professor.
Bro, I didn't finish my. Liam, did you hear about the Nerf gun proposal?
What nerf gun people want?
Oh yeah. Albany is trying to turn into the city because now they're shooting like BBs and bullets outside and chasing them around. I shit
Like
you not.
actual, like
Yeah.
like actual, like.
No, not like
Oh,
actual.
oh,
like
oh.
BBs, like plastic.
Oh,
bullets.
that's like that can do damage.
Yeah, it hurts. I don't know
Did
if
you get
ever-
shot?
No, in die happened, but like it's literally just.
I love how you said well, you start listen, even that doesn't happen in this.
That does not happen in the city.
Well,
So I'm going to do it alongside you guys as well.
Maybe strapped now.
I do.
You should come to our apartment. There's no Nerf wars going on at
I'm
Empire.
so quiet there.
Oh, it's so
I
nice.
hear like literally screaming.
Not when Neil's talking.
all the time. It's just like.
Hey man.
Hey man, you should be in HM. I think the application's just closed actually.
No, that's for the spring, not for the fall.
It's not worth it. Being in HMs.
Yeah, it is. You enter.
What if you're a 10-month HM?
I think.
What do you mean
They're
HM isn't
AKA
working?
you
lot.
live on freedom.
I think they're a
With
lot more.
sophomores.
They're a lot more on your ass if you're in HM.
No.
The only thing is the duty shifts are a lot more common since there's a lot less.
Yeah. Plus, they all had it. They like.
Other than that, the
They have
benefits seem
lockout
pretty
hour.
good.
Oh yeah, the lockout hours are
The
many,
lockout
like,
hours end
You
at
get
11.
the Empire gym to yourself whenever you want. Like, I have a friend who's in HM and
No, he's not. He's
not AAC assistant, not AAC.
I
someone
think the
else.
pro staff
Huh?
suck for
One of my old CLS coworkers.
I think the pro staff
Oh.
suck for that. I don't know.
No, not Jimmy.
You didn't do the right side.
Oh, God forbid here. No, but I was saying.
See, Dylan, I think your tenure at Res Life should come to an end. It's not worth the housing.
Instead of
It's
joining
really
Res
not.
Life, you should join Res Life.
Well, I tell my parents that, and well, God
Just
forbid,
tell them.
God forbid.
No, you just tell them instead of joining Res Life, I'm joining Ris Life.
Well, no, they're just like, I
Hey,
told my
did
parents,
you hear what I said or no?
You're just like, it's not worth it. I want a stipend or something else, and they're just like, how dare you?
Did you hear what I
You were
said?
getting
I mean-
paid $300 a month or a week.
$300 a month.
I know.
What?
Just
You
kidding.
get no stipend, right?
No stipend, no hourly wage, no nothing.
Yeah, so I think they don't understand what the benefits
Hey,
of
man,
are,
if you get-
aka they don't
If
exist.
you work for CIS,
They do not care.
You can get paid and be like, I get paid.
Well, you're working over the summer, so if you want, you save up money and then that'll cover your room and board.
Dude, I'm gonna get like $2K from that.
How much are you gonna be making?
18 an hour, 40-hour work weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do some math.
Don't forget about sucky taxes.
Okay,
Well, taxes when you
18
take,
times
especially
40
your
times
well,
10.
I guess you
that's
are-
almost. That's about $5,000.
No, but he's
No.
right. Minus taxes.
No,
plus
it's
housing
it's
expenses.
7,200
Well,
raw.
no.
Plus, he's gonna need to get groceries and stuff, and he doesn't have a
Yeah.
car, so he's gonna need to do.
Yeah.
Life.
Well, listen, instead of Riz Life, join Riz Life. You know, just do like streams on my TV.
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. 'Cause,
How
like,
about this?
Literally, I was doing my board last night at like 1:30 in the morning, and they were shooting outside, and I see the dude pull up, and he's like knocking on the glass. He looks at me, he's like, put me in. I'm like, no.
Wait,
I was
where?
Like, do you have your card? No. I was like, do you have your phone? Yeah. I was like, so then press the button to get in. I don't have access. What's that in your pocket? It's literally a fucking BB gun in his hand, and he just goes and walks out.
For what?
Like,
Wait, why?
he was trying to get into my building.
Why?
Like, I don't know why, but he was trying to get into my building.
He was
didn't have
tailgating.
access. What?
Tailgating, trying to follow
Yeah,
someone.
no, not even tailgating. He was just expecting me to open it up for him because I
Did
was.
he know
already
you're the Riz
inside.
Life?
Yeah, because I was doing my board,
Oh.
so I could be a target, but whatever.
You could
Wait,
be.
why do they have BBs?
John Wilkes Booth here.
Why? Because the cops
Parent
would
shop
chase them
thing.
around campus. Like that's how bad it was.
Are they students?
Yeah.
They're freshmen.
What are they doing?
Being
So,
stupid.
finish off and everyone's ready for the next step.
I can't take these people anymore, man.
Here.
Oh, what?
Dylan.
Are you guys on the next step?
If you wear
No,
this,
here, Dylan. Dylan.
Oh, you don't need the VPN.
So this semester.
You can
I
just
don't
use
have
the
to
the web browser one. What step are you guys on?
This is my cheapest semester. My tuition
I don't
is
know
under
what the fuck.
$2,000
I don't even know
for
like,
living in Empire.
Like, are you on the
once you drop
walkthrough?
meal plan,
Yeah.
it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
oh,
So
yeah,
it's
that's
tuition per
required.
semester is like
Yeah, you're on that, right?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So if you go back to this page over here,
6,000 for
hold on.
housing.
Where's my mouse?
Not under.
If you go back to this page over here
Campus.
and click
without having to deal
walkthrough,
with freshmen.
it'll give you like steps on what to do.
When you get to live in nice,
Yeah.
quiet.
Nice quiet.
Like it'll show you like how the tools are being used and why they're being
Just don't
used and
live-
stuff.
Just don't live in the honors college housing on Empire. 'Cause
They
it's
have
shit.
that.
Yeah.
It's G cluster.
It's G cluster.
And it's not good.
Do you know someone named Todd? In the honors college.
Like, set up the,
Oh boy, do I? Yeah, I do. Well,
Glasses
oh yeah,
from
looks
Maryland.
like broccoli hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talks about 3 things: his dad worked in the government.
No way.
Oh hey.
Raph went out. I gotta go teach, but I was told I need to stop and say hi.
Yes.
Yeah, you have your meeting.
Are you
at
teaching a class
7:30,
now?
Right?
Yeah, at 6 my class starts.
You're only going an hour and a half.
Yeah, they're doing fucking Wireshark today. Of course it's gonna.
We're
take
doing
an hour and a
MDAT.
half.
That works.
Yeah.
Shit, you guys want to continue upstairs? It's a master's level. How are you guys?
Pretty
I'm
wonderful.
here.
How's Spain?
What?
How was Spain?
Fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah,
I got drunk every night. It was fucking
That seems
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, it was honestly awesome. Met a lot of cool fucking people.
Yeah.
Learned a lot of cool fucking shit. A lot of it went over my head, but It's also people doing it for like 20 fucking years, and like,
What's new?
yeah, exactly.
That's how it goes.
But it was fucking awesome.
Great.
Like,
That's nice.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you're back here in paradise.
Oh,
Dude.
yeah, Albany,
Nothing
New
but
York.
gray skies and gray concrete.
I'm here for 48 hours. That's it.
Really? Oh wow.
I just don't understand. Like, are you getting paid to be here? Like, is everything covered?
No, it's on my fucking dime.
On
Yeah,
top of
Sanjay.
your.
Oh, we're really end mapping.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
thought
you
you
thought I
guys
was
were joking.
No.
I thought you were joking.
We're going over service enumeration.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We be end mapping.
Yeah.
Raph should have came. We went out for food and he took an Uber to some dude's house. I don't know.
What?
Don't ask. I don't care to know. I really said, okay, text me the address. I just want to make sure it's.
know that still lives in Albany.
Dude, he acts like he still lives in fucking Albany. Alright? Whenever he comes here, that little gremlin inside peeks back out and is like, ooh, it's like menacing to fuck this place. I hate it. I hate Albany.
Are you
Goddamn.
teaching again next semester?
Probably.
What
Son,
class?
my contract's 10 months. So probably. I don't know what class yet.
Let me know. I'll register if I can.
Dude, my
What are the
class is so fucking easy.
I hope
You'll
you.
get an A.
I hope you teach a cross-listed
It's
undergrad.
it's
grad
642. So
No,
it's a
so
600 level class, 4 credits. It's a guaranteed A. If you show up to class and submit the assignments, you have an A. Like unless you're like a
The
straight
DF
A.
department has recently fallen off completely. Half the staff went online.